What it is, Danny X, DarkLight and the bad guy here, checking out this Dillan Danis and Logan Paul fiasco. Who thought that was going to be an actual solid fight? I don't know. I thought Dillan Danis was going to try a little bit something more than what he did.
Plus free shipping when you use the promo code JAIL today. Or guys, just click on the link below. All right, guys. Slip it in my closet here. Get a little.
Come out of the closet, Chael. Nah, I hear you, buddy. I had to slip off too.
A piece of quiet. My family's in the living room. We're watching the Misfits boxing fight, so a little bit loud. So I want to give you guys a quick breakdown here. Danis and Paul. There was, and let's just start at the very beginning if you guys didn't see this. This production is outstanding, by the way. I really have to give it to Mams Taylor DAZN, these folks that are doing this. It's a beautiful product.
It's a beautiful piece of shit, is what he's trying to say.
And Paul walked first. I'd be very curious as to why Paul walked first.
Because it's a well-polished turd.
I took it as a sign of respect to Dillan, who's been a jiu-jitsu world champion, who's a signed Bellator fighter. Who of the two of them, maybe they put him in the category of a real fighter? I mean, right, for lack of another word, I thought it was very respectful that they walked Dillan second. That's the point I'm trying to make. So at any rate, they get there. And when they face him off in the middle, Paul says to him, "I forgive you." And he says it to him again and again, very calmly. He says, "I forgive you." Now, as far as head games go, that's about the best I've ever seen. I don't know of one that I can state for you that I'd ever seen in my life that would be more effective than telling a guy right there.
Yeah, it kind of takes the sting right out, don't it? It kind of leaches the hate a little bit, which is antithetical to the fighting part. So, yeah.
In that moment, I forgive you. So, all right, set that aside. While they're doing the face-off, more importantly than the audio effect of "I forgive you," was the visual. These two are not remotely the same size, right? You got Dillan's in there with a heavyweight. Paul looked great. Looked great, big old arm.
You know, right before I clicked on a streaming of the fight, because I didn't pay for that shit, I finally had a clip of Dillan Danis pop up doing some sparring with Alex Pereira. And goddamn, that's when I knew, right? That was the first time I saw him actually boxing and sparring a little bit. That's when I knew, man. That's when I knew I was glad I didn't bet on him.
On him, he's a tall guy. Gosh, I bet you he stands just under 6'3". Paul's great big guy. But he's towering over Dillan. Okay, the fight starts. Paul was throwing ones and twos, and he'd throw him to the head, he'd throw him to the body. If he could throw a one and he could touch you, then he would throw a two, and I love that.
Logan had absolutely no evolution from his last fight, but he didn't really need it for Danis either, though.
I mean, that's just good boxing. That's just good fighting. Clayton Hires, who trained me, he'd say that every single day. If you can touch him with one hand, you can touch him with the other. So don't touch him with one hand and not touch him with the other. And Paul would take this upstairs, and then he'd go right to the midsection. Not looking for livers and kidneys, not looking for hooks, not looking for all that pretty stuff. Straight. Boom, change elevation, boom, again to the body. Come right back upstairs, right? Stand big and tall, throw two to the head, change elevation, throw.
Yeah, all that smack Dillan was talking about I'm a real fighter, I'm going to bring it to you like a real fighter. That energy was not there during the fight.
To the body, and he was quick. I turned to my wife, I said, "Man, this guy's fast." Pauls are such good athletes. They are such naturally good athletes. And this is a very wild thing to go into. Right? When you got money and you don't need to fight, you're doing it for fun. Not to mention he's not even a main event. I mean,
look at that. That's a good dad right there. That little man loves his dad. And he's like, whatever, just roll with it.
This was really about a marketing play for Prime. You really can't put your body in the line of fire, right? There's been plenty of drinks out there. Never saw the CEO of Coca-Cola or Budweiser or Coke or anybody go out and box as a way of marketing. It's kind of a special thing, right? But I'm starting to see it. I'm seeing this big guy. And I'm seeing these straights. I'm seeing a guy that can listen. I'm seeing the basics. I'm seeing good footwork. Okay, great. Round one done. Round two done. Round three done. Round four done.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing that I noticed from the Dillan Danis boxing clip was he had no footwork. he kept standing right in front of Alex when they were sparring, and as soon as when Alex started piecing up on him and letting go, that's when he would freeze up, and that's the time you need your footwork the most. So when I saw that, that's when I realized Danis was probably going to get starts, like everyone said. And so
I'm going to go quickly because they were all the same, which is he's doing what we call a cage, where you put both hands up, right? And think of boxing gloves, holding a, but think of both hands up. So you get those big old 16-ounce gloves on, 14-ounce gloves on, you're really quite covered. Want to work with MMA gloves. It's one of the reasons kickboxers don't generally transition quickly into MMA. Some of the things that they would do for defense with the big gloves just doesn't work. But I'll bring to you, Dillan's walking him down, and the announcers are carrying him. They're covering him, saying, hey, look, he's taking some pep out of his step. Then one of Glover's Glover Teixeira, Alex Spear, one of their boxing trainers, contacts
walking him down does no damn good if you ain't letting loose.
Earl Hawani. You know, he's listening to the broadcast. He's listening to the announcers giving Dillan a hard time, saying, hey, man, it's time to fight. Dillan's not fighting. And the announcer says, and the boxing coach says, hey, look, I told him to do this. This was our plan. Walk him down, take some pep out of his step, use up some of that energy, and then go after him. Okay, fine. Now, that's what we thought we were seeing anyway. It's just a matter of the announcers weren't getting...
Pretty sure you meant okay, great, but whatever. We'll roll with it.
giving Dillan a lot of slack because it was only a 6-round fight. And to do that for the first round would be understandable. To go out and do that round after round, they were starting to get a little anxious. And Dillan did have some good moments. Like when Dillan throws a hook, it was great. Dillan threw an uppercut that missed, but it was just this beautiful uppercut. And I'll give Paul his due. Like, you know, Dillan's strategy, eventually you run out of time, right?
Would they say, like, Dillan ended up with a total of somewhere around 15 strikes landed in the whole fight, and Logan had somewhere upwards of 100. So, I mean, you can't always go off of the strikes landed, but when you have that much of a proportional mismatch, that pretty much tells you what happened.
You can knock a guy, same with MMA, you can knock him out, you can finish him, you can submit him, or you can have more points when time runs out. So this was a points game. Paul was racking them up, fine. Towards the end of the fight, I got to bring you this one moment, because at the end of the fight, Dillan had already feinted a guillotine choke.
Little man's like, where are you sneaking off to, Dad? The fight's going on. Oh, okay, I'll hang out with you, make a video with you.
And it was a little stronger than, say, what Nate Diaz did to Jake Paul. It looked like Dillan was looking for it a little bit longer. He hit a double leg and came to a body lock, but he let it go. He was purely doing that for the cameras. I'm going to take him down and, you know, cheat and do something bad. He was looking to add a little excitement to the fight. But at one point in the fight, Logan has a corner man. They called it security. The announcer called it security. I don't really know what the distinction is. If he's with you and he's in your corner, he's a corner man. Either way, he's this guy and that guy gets into the ring while the fight is active. Now, I thought, and I'll admit for you, I'm not bullish on this. I don't know these rules inside and out. You got the Queensberry rules. You got the unified rules. They're
Tell him.
fighting over in England. Is it the WBO, WBC, IBF? What rules are we going by? Is it the English Boxing Committee's rules? Right? The point is, I don't know the rule, but I do know under many jurisdictions, if your corner gets into the ring, any member of your corner gets into the ring during active time, simply meaning not during the break when they're supposed to be there. If they get in at any time, it's an automatic disqualification. Let me give you an example. Peter McNeely fought Mike Tyson. Peter McNeely's cornermen were in the ring. They're given ice, they're given water, they're talking to their guy in between rounds. It's time to get out. The round begins, and one of the cornermen...
Dude's mocking him in the background. That's hilarious.
hasn't gotten through the rope yet. So now you have a cornerman that's in the ring at a time he's not supposed to be. Automatic disqualification.
He's just warming up. You know, he's got to follow in the footsteps later on. He's just, you know, getting them reps in, warming up right there.
That's how that fight ended, and Mike Tyson won, officially by disqualification. So I thought, hey, wait a minute, that security guard jumped in there. He can't do that. That's a disqualification. And I wanted to make sure I was right before I brought this to you guys, so I took it to Big John. And John said, well, Shale, you can. That is against the rule. And you can disqualify a guy. John says, but you could also disqualify Dillan for the guillotine choke in the double A. I said, no, John, I understand that. What I'm asking very specifically, not is it eligible for disqualification? Is it a mandatory disqualification? And no. He said, no, you got that wrong. It would be at the referee's discretion. So I bring that to you just because, I mean, could you imagine, right? Like there's some high points and they're back and forth. And Logan says he forgave him. I mean, it's a real question, is he a man of his word? Can't tell a guy you forgive him. Oh, by the way, I'm going to sue you on top of that. If you forgive him, you forgive him. He said he forgave him. I hope that he means it. Logan's a stud. There's no way around it. His brother's a stud. Man, these guys are legit tough guys.
And everyone is falling for that catfish wedding, bro. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. Logan's not that stupid. Like, he wouldn't make it to where he was at if he was that stupid. Logan's not that stupid.
I don't know anybody else that could go out and do this. I really don't. I've never met them. My whole life I've been around tough people. I don't know anybody who part-time as a hobby could go into professional.
So if that is legit, then Logan's self-esteem is so fucking low that he would take the literal cum dumpster of Hollywood as his wife and feel good about it. Either that or he's just catfishing y'all. It's one or the other. I don't think he's stupid at all, but his self-esteem might be that low. You know, I will definitely buy that. Well, time will tell.
Boxing and then have the endurance to hold up for 18 hard minutes, which is what he did tonight, right? 6 rounds, time 3. 18 hard minutes is a lifetime of work. And he did it in his spare time. I give him his due. But he did say he forgives him. I hope he means it. Dillan went out there. Dillan did his part.
Chill, always looking out for his boys, man. You gotta love that. Looking out for Dillan. It's like, drop that shit. Don't worry, as soon as the fight's over, this lawsuit's gonna be gone. It was just to help sell the fight anyway.
I didn't think he was gonna show up. He went out there and fought. He had a game plan, whether you like it or not. He had a plan. He showed respect to his coaches. The coach even weighed in and said, this is what I asked him to do. Everybody did what they were supposed to, and we were entertained. So how about take a deep breath, give these guys a little bit of credit.
All right, so there you have it. DarkLight and the bad guy. That was Logan Paul, Dillan Danis. This is Dane DarkLight here. Signing off. Peace.
Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Taylor with Black.